Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Business operators still reeling from roadworks on the Southern Coastal Highway. Cops name men wanted for murder in Westmoreland. And later in sports, football stakeholder questions how the JFF will pay the new Reggae Boys coaching staff. I'm Kalisha Williams and here are the details. Works under the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project continue to wreak havoc on the surrounding business community. This as business operators in Bull Bay St. Andrew say the roadwork is hampering trading in the area. Sandy Williams reports.
Shops, hardware stores, and even health facilities have been reeling from the impact of the roadworks now underway in 8 Mile Bull Bay. Business operators say the problems have forced unfavorable measures, ranging from downsizing their business places to accommodate the roadwork.
We had like a mini plaza on the side of our compound, and we had to downsize it because the road took up most of that side of the road that comes in, so we had to devalue about 6 to 7 different shops right there. So we lost the business right there.
To dealing with the dust nuisance and more seriously, flooding when it rains.
Apart from the dust, but the flooding is the worst because when the rain fall heavily, the water settle out here and you can't get into the shop. Our customers can't come in either to buy anything.
Flooding has always been a problem in the area, but according to the business operators, the situation has gotten worse since the roadworks began.
We had a drain that was right where you see the wall that is there. We had a drain there, but when they moved the wall in, they automatically blocked the drain off. So it couldn't drain away the water that was there, so all the water was built up on the road.
And this, they claim, is causing them to lose revenue. The most recent flooding happened last Tuesday.
I came here about 4 o'clock and the water, I couldn't come over here. I was over the taxi dropped me over the other side of the road. And when I survey and see the position, I just had to take another car and go home same time, so I lose all of that.
Due to the flooding, a lot of patients were stuck on the inside, and those who were on the outside had to take a taxi to come in. So the patient load was not as much after the rain and the heavy flooding because you cannot pass it, not at all. It was so high, a lot of patients have difficulty going home.
We lost gas because going halfway and had to turn back, or manpower loading the truck and have to unload it again because the deliveries didn't go out. And then this morning again, manpower to load it back again and all of that. So it comes a lot.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
With close to 30% increase in murders in Westmoreland so far this year, the police in the parish are seeking the public's assistance in apprehending over a dozen men on their most wanted list. O'Shane Masters has details.
The Westmoreland police have listed 13 men as wanted for several crimes in the parish. 10 of the men are wanted for murder. They are Rickle Barrett, OC Tuggy Tuggy or Boogie, Omar Fogo, otherwise called Wagon or Satan, Mashorn Samuels, OC Sabo or Ami, Burton Shearer, OC Bap, Ashwin Campbell, OC Cappy, Andre Ferkerton, OC Canute, Philbert Anderson, Mark Wright, OC High Grade, Vassian Braham, OC Tugrat, and Akish Morgan, OC Frisco. The remaining 3 are wanted for other crimes in the parish, including wounding with intent and rape. The police divisional head, Senior Superintendent Wayne Josephs, is calling on persons within the parish and others who may be harboring these men to desist from doing so.
When the police are looking for these persons, it is not normally the police alone who are looking for some of them. Some of these persons have rivals who are also looking for them. And you wouldn't want the rivals to come and find them at your home because you might find yourself in some other problems too.
SSP Josephs is appealing for the men to turn themselves in. The call comes as Westmoreland has reported an increase in murders since the start of the year. Up to September 7, there were 103 homicides in the division, an increase of 29 deaths over the corresponding period in 2021. Crime officer for the parish, Inspector Orette Coburn, says the majority of the deaths are linked to gangs and the lottery scamming. And despite the public's apparent lack of trust in the JCF, the head of the Westmoreland Police is calling for a deeper relationship with communities in the parish.
If we continue to keep the information to ourselves, then we are not going to have a better society. I can understand the trust factor and the fear factor, but the more we refuse to give information, is the more we are going to be suffering at the hands of these criminals out there. So I just want to appeal to everyone out there, that we need the assistance of the public.
Shane Masters, TVJ News.
In the meantime, investigations continue into the mob killing of 2 men in Springfield, Westmoreland last month. The deceased men, Melcardo Morgan, otherwise called Ellie, and Devon Hendricks, otherwise called Shabba, both of Green Island in Westmoreland, were accused of stealing bikes. However, residents and the police say they have no evidence of such.
We have done some background checks on the individuals who were killed, and we know that those persons are persons who are gainfully employed elsewhere, and there's no evidence to suggest that these persons were in the area to steal bikes. So as a result of that, we are still trying to locate the persons who committed that gruesome act.
There is a call this afternoon for an increase in the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, to members of Parliament. MPs currently get $20 million annually. MP for Western St. Mary, Robert Morgan, told the House that the original policy document called for a set percentage of the budget to be allocated to the CDF.
There are allegations, however, that some MPs do not fully allocate all of their CDF annually, and the unspent funds have to be returned to the Ministry of Finance, thus robbing the people of a benefit. These MPs must be named. Their names must be made public. It is a travesty of justice that the little money allocated to improve the lives of the people at the community level is not being properly used. The names must be published and the funds reallocated to MPs who spend their money.
In the meantime, Mr. Montague also called for improved health insurance for all government workers, including senators.
This managed pool fund is not adequate, and it is too expensive for the taxpayer. It is cheaper to use the money and purchase proper health insurance. And we also need to fix the pension arrangements. MPs contribute to their pensions. We are not wholly dependent on the public purse. So let's fix the pension arrangement so retired parliamentarians can be paid their pension and be included on the health insurance.
As climate change continues to affect fisherfolk, experts are ramping up measures to sensitize players in the industry. From changing their fishing techniques and equipment, fishers are being urged to take heed or risk losing millions. More in this report.
It appears calm, but a crisis is brewing in the Caribbean Sea.
We used to catch a lot of fish, but since the compressor man them come in, you're not getting that amount of fish again. For where the fish them live, them go on there and mash down the whole of the rock them. So the fish not have nowhere to live again. So the fish them have to migrate.
Compressor fishing is when drivers scour the seabed for various types of fish, a practice which fishers like Herbert Harrison believe is leading to a decline in the fish stock.
So the government have to put some stoppage to ours it. And we understand that the compressor diving not legal. When you have the free lungs man, them used to go out there, you catch a better amount of fish.
Coupled with climate change, experts say bad fishing techniques spell trouble for the industry and the environment.
So there are different fishing strategies. So it's important that we adopt harvesting, we call it harvesting strategy, that will sustain our operation.
For instance, using the wrong nets and hooks to fish.
It is very dangerous when we have certain nets. That when you have the net out there, it catch everything, even the very small fish that you don't want. So that is it. It's important that our net have a standard size. That means the fish that are undersized, they will not get trapped in the net.
It is why the Jamaica 4-H Club has partnered with the United Nations Development Program to sensitize persons in the fishing industry about climate change and the environment. At the first event under the program in St. Thomas, we were told young people 18 to 35 years old are being targeted.
Realize that the seashore is coming in, and as such, you're affecting your livelihood. You're not able to catch the amount of fish that you normally would catch. And of course, it affects how much money you make and how you live. And so we wanted to be aware what is happening, what we can do individually to correct it.
And it's now time for the Business Minute. Here's Cody and Barrett.
In the world of business, the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, has appointed Tariq Ali, a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, General Manager of the Caribbean Country Department and IDB Country Representative for Jamaica. Ali has over 20 years of experience in corporate finance. He previously held several roles across various indigenous financial institutions in Trinidad and Tobago before he joined the First Citizens Group in 2011. In business internationally, about 60,000 union members working for railroads in the United States are set to go on strike after midnight on Friday, which operates 11 commuter rail lines in the Chicago area, warned its customers in a statement Tuesday that, quote, a potential work stoppage by freight railroad workers could directly impact its ability to operate most of its services, end quote. Chief economist at the National Grain and Feed Association, which represents most U.S. grain handlers, said rail customers reported at least one railway would stop taking grain shipments on Thursday, threatening exports and feed deliveries for livestock. That's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
And it's now time for our regional and international stories. Here's Sandy Williams.
In the region, a new World Bank report has called on countries in the region to take urgent action to help reduce the impacts of climate change and set a path for the transition to low-carbon economies. According to the report, a roadmap for climate action in Latin America and the Caribbean 2021-2025, climate-related disasters such as hurricanes, drought, fires, and floods are becoming increasingly frequent and intense in the region and are the cause of enormous economic losses. The report noted that Latin America and the Caribbean is among regions most vulnerable to the destructive power of such events. On the international scene, U.S. President Joe Biden says a tentative deal has just been reached between the unions and rail companies to avert a major strike that could have halted the U.S. economy. The president called it a win for thousands of rail workers as well as the companies, who will now be able to retain and recruit more workers. The agreement came this morning after 20 consecutive hours of negotiations at the Department of Labor. The deal will now go back to the unions for a vote, after which there will be a cooling off period of several weeks. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Kalisha Williams. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.